good morning, good morning, and I hope everyone's having a great day. Welcome to another edition of Motivations with Kevin and Friends. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is through the power of our story, our voices to uplift, inspire, share experience and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. This show was originally created from one of the 300 motivational quotes and growing that I had created for the contents of my book. I was always curious about quotes and how they landed or they were interpreted by other people. So this show was based on that. Tossed it out to friends, and we get different perspectives and on a quote, and we have a great time here. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am joined with my co-host, Otis Spencer, famous tennis star and actress Chrissy Everett, Andrea, leader of SAG-AFTRA in the Boston Common area. Extraordinary, and I'll say it 3 times, extraordinary talent Andrea is. So if you're out there listening, you want to hire someone with some chops, that's Andrea. And I am your host, Kevin McLemore, 3-time published author, and just a guy that wakes up every day trying to make a difference in someone's life. So today, Chris has brought the quote for us today. Chris, I'm going to go ahead and let you bring it on. And what's the quote you have today and why?
Oh, and why? Let's see. Well, hi,
Well, you don't
everybody.
have to answer why. We know why.
Good morning, welcome, hello. Good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. So the quote is, "A moment doesn't ruin a day." Yes. And this is somebody I don't know what his name is, but I heard this person say this yesterday, and I thought, oh, what a great quote. And it's so true. The conversation that we were having was just about how, like, when I was younger, I thought a moment was going to last forever, right? Like a moment of sadness, of disappointment, whatever. Like I thought it was going to be forever, like all day long or whatever. Something happened, and that was just like the day was ruined. My life might have even been over at that time because it was so bad. But as I've matured, I have come to understand that a moment does not have to ruin a day. It's just a moment. And I know we have a second quote that we were tossing around, and I'd like to read that one as well.
Go ahead.
If that's cool. And this one is from Eckhart Tolle, or Tolle. I never really know how to pronounce it. But that quote is, "The past has no power over the present moment." And it's like those two quotes to me are like the front and the back side of your hand, right? Like a moment doesn't have to ruin a day, and the past doesn't have to affect this present moment. Like what happened yesterday doesn't have to be, or even what happened a minute ago doesn't have to be the way that I proceed with my life or proceed with my day, right? It can be like every moment can just be new, and then it's gone. So that's how those two quotes hit me. And again, I guess it just ultimately it's like, be in the present, let go of everything, don't hold on to anything that's going to keep you down.
Boy, that was a lot of knowledge you just dropped on us. It's hard to move on from that. So moments do matter. And that's a quote from Dave Sanderson, the guy that he was the last person to leave the ship, the airplane that crashed in the Hudson. That's his thing. Moments matter. And I'll tell you a little bit about that story. Andrea, how does that quote land on you, or either quote? We'll ask Chris to say the second quote again, but don't let a moment ruin your day.
A moment doesn't ruin a day. I guess that would just be how you can just always choose the way you react to things, choose the way you feel, choose. And I always say, you know, it's work, but joy is a choice. And so you things can be happening, you can have these bad moments, things that are failures, but you can choose to either step away from it or to learn from it or to turn it into something else. But it is your choice whether that envelops you and makes your whole day, or whether you choose to make it into something entirely different. And the whole past has no power over the present moment. Well, that's something people are dealing with all the time, you know, things that, oh, this happened before, oh, this happened, and you need to just sort of get over that. I mean, things that happen in childhood, ways that you were treated, all of that kind of stuff. And especially everybody in this room, I mean, if you grew up Black, you definitely have a lot of that. And some of it is how you can teach the next few generations to deal with such things, because these happen again. I had a thing a few months ago where I was supposedly mentoring or just being interviewed by high school students, and they all, one of their questions they asked was, oh, did you experience racism in your career? And it's like, yes, of course. And I guess they thought I wasn't going to say that, but I said, oh yeah, the rules were entirely different. And you look back and and you can see how things have changed. I mean, I'm not a Pollyanna or anything, but I can see that it used to be absolutely, you can cast all white. That's that, you know, this is a white show. Music Man is a white show. But now that isn't really allowed. You're going to see some Black, might not see the lead, but you might see the lead. You're seeing all kinds of things that are opening up, and it's opening up for everyone. You know, you see something like The Little Mermaid, perfectly wonderful cast and perfectly wonderful film. And I went to see it. And the highlight of it, the whole experience for me, was when I was leaving and I saw this group of little girls, brown girls, all having their photos taken in front of the poster, and how excited they were. And it's just like, oh, this is what it's all about.
Yep. Yep. Moments do matter. And it does make you think about chances, your choices, and the chances we take in the very moment. I'm going to put this out there as a question. Have you ever asked someone how they're doing and regretted asking that question?
Oh, never.
I think we all have that one person, and we keep going back hoping that we're going to get a different answer, because they always walk around with a cloud over their head. And I think if you are one of our listeners and you are that person, that when someone asks you how your day is, and you're having a bad day, and you want to share your bad day with everyone else, honestly, they really don't want to hear your bad day. They just want to be kind to you. Keep it to yourself. You know, they want to say this, but they're too nice to say it. So I'm going to tell you, if you're having a real bad day and you don't have that go-to friend to call and whatever, if a stranger asks you how your day's going, just say, I'm doing fine. All right, Otis, how you doing? And
I'm doing pretty good.
And you have the monument as your background in tribute to Memorial Day.
I do, and to thank all the veterans and those who have lost their lives to help save our country and our freedoms.
And he just took my line. And
Uh-huh.
thank you for upstaging me, but thank you for everyone that served our country, and thanks to those families who sacrificed their loved one in order to have our freedom. No matter how much we are divided in this country, we have to unite in order to bring this country together so we can survive and thrive. So we, from the show, we all thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Otis, a moment doesn't ruin a day, or does it?
each quote that we have, I try to look at personal experiences. And the overall out of that quote, it really depends on how strong you are as a person. Because if you let things really bother you to that point, yeah, it can ruin your day. But if you are in control of your life, it doesn't have to. A personal experience just recently when I was working on set of a film in Hyannis, I had a close friend's brother text me. And I said, oh my God, I need to call this person, but I knew it wasn't good news. When we were on break, and it wasn't good news, I had a dear friend that passed away. And hearing the story, tried to comfort the brother. But when I went back into holding it, at that point, I told someone else I knew it was bad. At that point, I completely lost it, broke down. One of the other cast members there, she says, let me give you a hug, which of course helped a lot, but it didn't ruin my day. It ruined a moment, but I had to continue working for the rest of the day and made it through. On our other quote, past has no power over the present. Even on that, yes, it can, and it can even improve the present. And I think of my mom, who always told me as I was growing up, you got to watch how you handle your money. And I guess some of our baby boomers, we thought, hey, I want to live for today and don't have to worry about tomorrow. But if I had listened to her, I would have had more money saved for the present. But yet, taking that knowledge, I can then, like Andrew was saying, share it with other people when I see them going down the wrong path. But yet, they're going to be just like I was. They don't understand until they get into that moment.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that share. And thank you for making that quote personal. I'm going to go with the second quote. The past should not or does not affect the present. And I am going to put my spin on that and says, I agree and I disagree for the simple fact that I am an author. And the words that are in the pages of my book are created from my past and how I reacted in the present state. It's the same way as the three of you. You guys are all actors and actresses. You know, where do you get your reference when you become someone other than you for a part? Whatever, you have to pull from somewhere in your past experience. Dave Sanderson, a friend of mine, was the last person to exit the plane that went down in the Hudson. And one of the things he shared with me, he says when they announced, if anyone's seen the movie Scully, they'll see Dave Sanderson there. He was sitting in his seat and he had read that when a plane crashed, what remained of the person was the middle part of their torso. So he had taken a plastic bag and took his cell phone with a message in it to his wife and his kids and tucked it in his pants, thinking that if he had been separated from his own body, that this would be the last note he had. Fortunate for him, the plane went down. He said the plane submerged. He was in waist deep in water. And you know how they said that all the stuff is supposed to come down, you know, in emergency, put it over your face, whatever. He said the cabin filled up and it was dark. And he said it wasn't even anything like what he had been told. But he said he could have gotten off the plane first. But he said God told him that he would take care of him. And Dave assisted a dozen or so people, and he was off the plane very last. And not realizing that once the plane went under, that it would have created a whirlpool and would have probably dragged him down to his death. So he made a lot of decisions at that time. And now he has a quote, moments matter. So moments do matter. I was given a gift from one of my professors, and it was a rock. And describing the rock was, today is yesterday's tomorrow. And it took me 15 years after looking at that rock every single morning is, what the hell did that mean? I got so many great gifts graduating from Central State. And my one professor that gave me the hardest time gave me a rock. And then one morning I woke up and realized that today is the only day that is granted to you. Yesterday is history. No matter how much you want to change whatever happened, no matter how much conversation you want to change or whatever, you cannot change what you said yesterday. And tomorrow is just a dream. If we get lucky enough to live in, to advance our lives in tomorrow, that's a gift from God. And I always say, don't mess it up. He gave you a second chance at life. So a moment should not ruin your day. You choose in order to stay in that moment. Someone's going to wrong you, deal with it. Someone's going to disappoint you, deal with it. You're going to miss your car payment. I say learn how to walk or jog. You're going to have a child that you give everything to in life, and one day that child is going to tell you that they hate you. They don't mean it, but at that moment, because they're not getting their way, they hate you. Or you're going to have a significant other that's going to make a decision that's not popular to the strength of your relationship. And you've got to determine if you're going to mend that relationship or you're going to let that relationship go. So to our listeners, take a moment and ask yourself, really, what happened to you a couple of minutes ago, does it ruin your day? 24 hours, we get 186 hours in a course of a week. 86,000 seconds in a day, 365 days in a year. Do you really want that moment that's happening to you right now to ruin the rest of your day? I would say enjoy your life, celebrate what you have, share your gift with everyone else. And remember, what Andrea said, about her life and how this quote landed on her. Remember with Otis sitting in front of the monument, every time someone goes to the monument and looks at a loved one, they're in a moment in time, and they can either stand there and let time pass by, or they can take that moment and live forever. And Chris, I thank you so much for, not only bringing one quote, but complementing that quote with another, talking about the moments of the past coming toward the future. And to our listeners, I want to thank you for tuning in. We meet here every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We throw out a quote based on our perspectives and interpretation of it. We kind of play around with it. Sometimes it's real serious. Sometimes, a lot of times, that makes sense, and we're just having a good time. And I want to thank again my co-hosts, Chris, Otis, Andrea, and to the ones that are busy celebrating the holiday, Ife, Naheem, David, we miss you. Can't wait to see you when you come back. And, if no one ever said this to you today, remember, from RMK Productions and the Motivations with Kevin and Friends, we love you. All right. So I don't want to end on just a preachy note. I want to find out what all of our wonderful people are doing in their lives. I want to promote what Andrea is doing, Otis and Chris. Give us an update. Andrea, last time we were on, you had to skip out because you were picketing for the writer's strike. I don't know if it's over with or not, but I will say this: congratulations to everyone in Boston. You've done something that hadn't been done by many. So it's 3-3. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Keep this thing going. Miami Heat. Not a fan, so that's okay. I'm an Ohio boy, so I cheer for Ohio. But the fact that I live outside of Philadelphia and you guys beat the 76ers, I got to go with our division rivals. So Boston, go get it. Boston strong. Otis, what are you up to?
Well, we'll see. I got sort of an availability call to work on a production June 1st to June 2nd. And then also have a couple of friends who've asked me to work on their productions this coming summer, one in July and one in June. All
right. Chrissy Everett, you told us about Ted Lasso and the show that we should watch on Apple TV. Give us an update. Let our viewers know how great this show is and what the premise of it is. And tell us what you have planned for the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, Ted Lasso, as I described it, it's just the kindest, gentlest, most human show out there. What a lesson. It gives lessons in love and kindness. And thank you, Andrea, for that. So yes, definitely watch it and, just get all the love that is available from that. There are so many quotes that happened in that television show as it were. I was going to bring one, but I couldn't remember what it was. So yeah, it's all good. And what am I doing? I'm in my bathing suit because the pool is open, and today I'm going to go swimming, which I learned how to do recently by taking lessons and getting over the fear of the water. So now I'm gonna go take it on.
You do know you're killing all of the myths and the stereotypes. You know, top ranked tennis player. Now you're in the water. We're not going to talk about jumping high and whatever the case may be. We know about that. Chris Everett, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And I'm going to go ahead and segue to one of our creatives, you know, SAG-AFTRA president, Miss Andrea Lyman. She's doing wonderful things. I know she was striking last week. Hopefully, you know, some of those parts that you've been auditioning for, you got some good news for us. Andrea, what's up?
Well, still auditioning for a lot of different things, and very much working hard and looking forward to the Roxbury International Film Festival. So that's a month. Next month, this time, we'll be doing all kinds of stuff. And one of the things we're going to have is an actors workshop, which will be on the Saturday, the 23rd of June in the morning. But we'll have casting directors and Tim Ayers, my agent, is going to be there, and David and Naheem to run some acting exercises and talk just a whole panel talking about acting and doing some acting exercises. And that's just one of the many things they'll be doing at the festival.
Yes. And for those of our listeners that are on the East Coast or even on the West Coast, if you get a chance, is it June the 20th or 22nd?
It opens June the 20th is the celebration. It officially opens the 22nd, even though the 20th and 21st will have some films. And then every weekday at noon, there'll be a thing called Daily Reads, where you can, on Zoom, listen to actor or watch the actors read a new piece that a screenwriter is working on. So
to anyone that is anyway connected to the film industry, for lighting to set locations to craft or being an extra or whatever, I will tell you from personal experience, after coming up and meeting everyone, Andrea and everyone, there are a lot of influential people that are in the film business that are accessible, shaking hands, sitting down with dinner, sharing experiences. And you know, this business is all about experience. Get in your car and go to Roxbury, Mass, and just enjoy. Spend the whole week there. Bring your family there. Anyone that has never admitted to anyone they wanted to be in the acting business, go up there and create some relationships. You never know who's going to get discovered or who's going to be the right person. I mean, look at the little girl, Little Mermaid. You know, she wanted, as soon as she opened her mouth, started singing. All those other girls pack it up and go home. All right. It is so nice. And plus, and Andrea, it is so nice having daughters, to have you say, because Barbie is coming out, to have a child walk out of a movie and to be able to take her picture with someone that's starring in the movie that looks like her. So a lot of people won't understand that, but we as melanated people, we realize that, you know, we need to be at the forefront of the industry and not always in the background. We need not to be on the 6 o'clock news trying to regurgitate the worst part of what you guys perceive our environment. There are a lot of talented people that are doing good things. Please go ahead and share the love and share the positivity. Stay out of the lane of negative, and don't let anyone ruin your day. And so with that said, my grandfather always said, when you get to a place you can help someone else, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one, and I'll fade to black. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.